I just feel like, what is up with these old men beefing online? Like, that's my thing. Like, y'all are too old to be beefing online. Cedric over there, someone asked him in an interview, like on at an event. He's like, they put this on the blogs. I'm like, blog? It's a podcast. Like, oh my God, you don't even know. You so old, you don't even know. Like, nigga, what? Oh yeah, what they do nowadays on the blogs. I was like, these old niggas need to stop fucking arguing online. This is just not it. This is not fucking it. Like, literally.
This the kind of beat to go. This the kind of beat to go. This the kind of beat to go. Rock, top, top. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Petty Headquarters. I'm your host, Tiana Locke, and this is
Jessie Strange.
And today we are going to be diving deep into some crazy shit. First and foremost, Katt Williams clearly started off the new year crazy.
Yeah,
he came in hot.
The internet is going wild over his interview.
Yeah, he created a storm. Like, the new year just started, sir. Like, calm down.
So we had to listen to it. 36 million views in like 3 days. How freaking crazy is that?
Yeah, that is pretty insane. Honestly, it looked like he had a lot to say. He had this shit on his chest. But for those that don't know, Katt Williams did sit down with Shannon Sharpe on an interview, with Shay Shay. And yeah, he clearly had a lot to say. Clearly Shannon wanted to just ask him about him. And in the beginning, it just all hell broke loose. Like, Katt was like, I did not come here to play with you hoes. Like, and that was the energy.
Yeah, he started off hot.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna dive into that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. From Ricky Smiley to Cedric the Entertainer to Steve Harvey, to P. Diddy, to Kevin Hart, to, oh my God, Tiffany Haddish. It's just a lot. He said a lot of shit, and I watched that whole fucking interview.
2 hours and 46 minutes.
Yeah, it was insane.
So we hope that you guys, stick around. Because we really working. That's really work. It was kind of tough, for sticking through the whole thing. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I'm dead. Yeah, I had to take some minutes. I had to take some days. It took me 4 days to finish that whole thing. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is a lot, but I finished it, and yeah. I have a lot to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your take on this shit, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like this whole interview really just speaks about the industry that people tiptoe around.
Yeah.
And I'm just in shock.
Which is kind of interesting because we kind of touched on it a little bit on the last episode. Mm-hmm. If you guys are following the episodes here, we kind of touched on it already without Katt Williams confirming a lot of it.
No,
it's kind of interesting.
So crazy. So to start off, Katt, immediately off rip starts talking about Ricky Smiley. Mm-hmm. And this has been a thing. He says he's not funny. He said he didn't get the role for Money Mike that he claims he did on the last interview that he did with Shannon Sharpe. And I'm just like, this is so crazy. So he just spilled the beans. And he just was so petty that I was like, wow, this man really said the only time I work with Ricky Smiley is if that nigga's wearing a dress.
He said he had it in a contract.
He had it in a contract. I'm just like, wow, that's a different form of petty. Basically, it seems like he's never really been a fan of the guy. And honestly, I didn't know who Ricky Smiley was until he spoke about him. Yeah. So, I mean, and I know who Steve Harvey is. I know who Cedric the Entertainer is. I know who Bernie Mac is. Hello, legend, R.I.P. I know who Kevin Hart is. Obviously, everyone knows who that is. I know, a lot of Mike Epps. I know these comedians. But when he said Ricky Smiley, I'm like, who are you? I don't know who that is. So I really had to look him up, and I don't really know. Honestly, what are your thoughts about the whole thing that he said about Ricky Smiley and the whole thing about he's always in a dress when you see him? He doesn't really have any original roles. He doesn't have any Netflix specials, not even on Tubi, nothing. He really came for this man.
Yeah, he did. My thoughts, honestly. First of all, it took 30 minutes before Shannon was able to freaking ask him a question. So he came in freaking hot.
Yeah.
1. 2, my thoughts on the whole thing was poor Ricky Smiley. I mean, look, Katt Williams clearly got something against him. Guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, all right? It was really hard. I'm not big on movies. I'm not big on comedians. I'm not big on all that shit. So it was kind of hard to keep up with what was what. He spilled a lot of fucking tea. But what do you gotta say? What did you take from all that, honestly? Like, I mean, he did, like, one up him, right? He's got a point. He don't got a special. And he does play a lot of female roles. But like,
so I guess my take on this whole thing, like, it's not necessarily about the dress, right? It's not about, oh yeah, all the roles you play, it's all female. What it's really about is the fact that you had the audacity, I guess, according to Katt Williams, you had the audacity to go on this interview with someone else and claim that you were the one that was supposed to get the role when, frankly, they don't even think you're that great of an actor. Because if they did, you would have had your own shit. And the story is you don't. You don't even have your own specials. And again, that's not shitting on you. That's just him speaking facts. Because now it's like you want to sit here and say all this other stuff. So let's really bring out the facts now, since you want to talk.
Right.
So,
right,
and
right.
I feel like it really comes from that standpoint of like, why is it that you have all this mouth, but like you don't have the criteria to back it up? You don't have the criteria to back it up. So of course, Katt felt some type of way. He felt like he needed to address it. And yeah. So I have a clip of it's crazy because Ricky Smiley, when he was talking with Shannon, there was a little bit of discrepancies in some of the stuff that he said. So
you were originally supposed to play Katt Williams' character.
Yes. And Katt Williams was supposed to play my character. And somebody said, no, we want you to play Mike.
The thieving ass
Mike.
Santa Claus.
Right? And then, because Katt Williams was going to be the Santa Claus.
Right.
And then, and they switched it over.
Right.
Because when I auditioned for Mighty Mike.
Right.
So when I went in there to audition, I'm at the toilet. When Katt Williams went to use the bathroom, that's the line I had to use to audition. So they switched it up. So I was like, yeah, I can do this Santa Claus role. Friday, but I didn't know.
So that is just a clip of of Ricky Smiley in the interview with Shannon, and he's saying all this stuff. First and foremost, he said Mighty Mike. The role is Money Mike. So that's the first thing where it's like, okay, do you even know the role that you allegedly were supposed to get over Katt? So that's one. And then there's another clip.
I told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike, and Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus.
And just for clarification, I went out to audition for Friday After Next as Money Mike, not the Santa Claus. And that is the honest God truth.
So that's another part where now it just feels like, okay, what was it then? Were you supposed to get the role, or did you just go and audition for Money Mike and you just did not get the role? So now it just feels like you're going back and forth and it's just not making any sense. And it just feels like, again, you're not really standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not really, and this is going back. And again, I don't know much. I don't know these people in real life, but just judging by how he's speaking, it just seems like you're not that sure of yourself. And this is probably why you get treated the way you do and probably don't get as much roles as you wanted. I don't know. But these people are still, at the end of the day, very successful people in their own merit, in their own right. But I'm just speaking on that. I thought that was crazy. And I felt like, there has to be some truth to that. If 1 minute you were talking about, yeah, I was supposed to get this role, and then you said Mighty Mike when the role is Money Mike, then you're over there talking about, oh, all I know is one thing for sure, I did audition for it. But okay, so that means you weren't supposed to get it. You just auditioned for it.
Right.
So
that's what it's looking like.
That's what it's looking like. So now it's just like, okay, I don't want to stick too much on the whole Ricky Smiley thing and stick too much on like every single individual that he talked about. My main thing with this whole interview is just to kind of like overall look at like some of the stuff that he really said in that entire interview. Some stuff checks out, which kind of makes me just question like, what does he know? Like what? Like it's just so insane to me. So
and it's really like what I really took away most about it, because like, yeah, the tea was juicy, right? Like, it was hot. The tea was definitely hot. But I think this interview really shows who Katt Williams is, you know, and I think he has a very interesting story as well. And I feel like his life story kind of, you know, like who he is as a person and who he is as a comedian really like reflects that, you know, the way, you know, he went into his upbringing and like what he had to do to get to where he is, which kind of, if I put myself in his position, can understand why I would feel some type of way too, and come hot when people trying to, you know, sit there and fucking trying to like make me look like I didn't put in the work when I did all this, and I know damn well you ain't even do half of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. Yeah, his story was definitely really crazy. Like, leaving to live on your own at 13 is just crazy. Like, your parents weren't worried about you. Like, well, like, damn.
They didn't,
his dad, I mean,
they ain't fuck with him.
Right.
Apparently.
Clearly. And I mean, it's like, it's so scary because he really did that. But moving on, his next thing that he says, which was like honestly a really, really, really big shock, is that he claimed that Kevin Hart is an industry plant. Yeah. So, I mean, he's sitting there basically saying like, yep, I mean, the way he came out of nowhere, like all of a sudden he's getting this, getting that, getting this. What do you think an industry plant is? And I'm just like,
what do you think, Annie? Do you think Kevin Hart is an actual industry plant?
Okay. Honestly, what I'm going to sit here and say is I don't know, but I won't be surprised. And the reason, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to discredit anyone's hard work, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kevin did what he needed to do and made his own choices in life and his timeline to get to where he got to. But like we were saying before, sometimes you just don't get to certain places without making certain sacrifices. And I feel like maybe he made certain sacrifices that maybe he didn't agree with, but decided, I need to put food on the table. I need to have a life for me and my family. So I don't know what anyone's life choices were, but I'm not also going to omit the entire fact that he may is a possibility, but I'm also not going to sit here and say, I 100% agree. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like I don't think Katt's lying about some of the stuff that he said so far in that interview. And I just feel like when Kevin Hart responded, he didn't really deny anything. So first and foremost, I know that doesn't mean anything, but let's get to it, because he claimed Kevin Hart's an industry plant. He also called him one of the many gatekeepers of comedy and said that he unlocked the gate for Tiffany Haddish, which, I mean, it is true. Tiffany Haddish, when coming up, she did kind of like come up under Kevin Hart's wing. And, you know, it was one of those things. He was her mentor. He helped her and did all the stuff for her. Okay, cool. Great. So, yeah, Kevin Hart, his response, it's crazy because he said so many different things. So one of his responses were, he posted something on Twitter and he was like,
I saw that.
Gotta get that anger up out of here, champ. It's honestly sad. In the meantime, please enjoy my movie trailer to my next film, Lift, yada, yada, yada. So that was that. But then he went on to make sarcastic jokes about him on a NBA Unplugged segment. Did you see that? Okay, so I'm gonna play it here.
About the New York Knicks. I don't know if you guys know this, but Katt Williams bought the Knicks.
He definitely bought it.
He bought the Knicks,
yeah.
And it's rumored that he took the Knicks back, returned them with a receipt.
Yeah, you can do that. Who knew? He was so voracious.
At the age 7, he got accepted to I think it was Delaware University.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never made public news.
No. Speaking of which, he was hitchhiking on side of the street at 13, so they couldn't find him.
Speaking of which, Kev,
Okay, so that was like, those little like snarky, sarcastic remarks based off of whatever he said in the interview with Shannon Sharpe. So my thing about that, now, first and foremost, if you're watching this, you'd have to see the interview already. because we are not going to show clips of the interview. That was a 3-hour interview. So if you didn't watch it, maybe this is not for you. You're not going to know what we're talking about. And if you did watch it, then you're going to know what we're talking about. And we're just going to be overall talking about the whole thing and just talking about how certain things kind of don't add up and all that stuff. So first and foremost, first it was a tweet that he tweeted. Then it was that little snippet. And honestly, I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't know. Before, it seems like they always had beef. So after digging up into this, it seems like they always had beef for a long time. At some point, Kevin Hart had went to the Breakfast Club and said that Katt Williams did drugs. So, and that's why Katt Williams said in the interview that, like, I've never done drugs a day in my life. None of that stuff. All he does is weed and that's it. And, like, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, Kevin... And this is what made me kind of wonder if he was an industry plant after seeing this interview. When he went on the Breakfast Club and talked, he was with Tiffany Haddish. And this is what he had to say to Charlemagne the God.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy. Yeah. You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You fucked off promo shoots. You fucked off your promo fucking trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I got to fix me.
Yo, not Tiffany Haddish being like,
yeah, I know.
I'm weak at her reaction.
I know.
You know what? I'm really glad that you showed me that interview, though, because it's interesting that Kevin Hart is really like protecting Hollywood when the reality of it is Hollywood is exactly what Katt Williams is talking about.
And people have said it many, many, many times again. So I guess what struck out to me the most is when he was like, you can't keep blaming the white man. I was like...
And that's exactly what I thought, too.
Now I really think you're an industry plant, because why did you feel... Like, I know Katt Williams does talk a lot about, but honestly... I don't know. I just feel like you as a black man, I don't know. You didn't have to say that.
And I just feel
that
like...
That made me feel some type of way. I'm not gonna do it.
It's like one of those things where, you know how, and you see this a lot, there's a lot of, let's just say black and Spanish people who conform to the quote unquote white man, and the white man could just be someone powerful of status. They can be black
and
too.
They just conform to the status quo.
Exactly. Just like, they're those type of people that'll be like, don't act rowdy because you're in a room full of white people. And,
that's what it gave.
So it's kind of like that type of mentality.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he's catered to that, right? And he does have a point, right? Like, you pick your poison. Clearly, Kevin Hart has catered to that, which is why he's been presented with more opportunities to be a bigger star in movies and all these other opportunities that Katt Williams doesn't get offered because he speaks the truth
to it, and he speaks the truth. And this is why I just feel like he must not be lying with some of the stuff that he has said, because look, he clearly and this is okay, I'm getting too ahead. Hold the fuck on.
Chill because I still got some stuff to say about that too. Kevin Hart, right, realistically gets presented way more opportunities in movies. Katt Williams, when's the last time you seen him in a movie? Right? And if it's recent, it's not often. He's not often in your face. It's mostly you see a lot of Kevin Hart, a lot of it. So it's kind of like, you don't need much to see that, even the obvious, the things that we're not even paying attention to. It's almost like you're blackballed from the industry because you open your mouth and you stand for what you believe in. And again, you don't cater to just staying quiet and just do what you do, keep your head down and keep shut. And that's kind of what they don't like. And that's why I feel like there's a lot of animosity. You feel a lot of animosity when Katt Williams is talking. And I have a clip of the interview where I want y'all to see it. Just look at his eyes, like look at his body language, and I'll tell you my thoughts after.
You were ridiculed by the mainstream comedy geist. That would be like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that never been funny. He want to push out. But that's really how it is. I'm so sorry I'm competitive. You an athlete, right?
Yeah, I can tell.
You understand.
Will there ever be another Comic View, Def Comedy Jam? Could that, in today, 24, 25, 26, could we see that again?
They've already announced it. It's already going. You didn't know? Mm-mm. Yeah, Kevin Hart purchased it, so he's now doing Comic View. That happened at the same time that they gave DC Young Fly Hollywood Squares. Where? Yeah, because they tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up for... Don't such and such open the gate for... What do you mean ain't no gatekeepers? There's 100 gates out here.
Would you
everyone I've seen got a keeper.
Would you have wanted to do Comic View or Def Comedy Jam? Would you have wanted to be?
I think we just mentioned I did them both.
No, I'm saying purchase the rights and refranchise it.
Nope. They didn't offer it to me anyway. Like, Comic View did a couple of disservice.
You see that right there. It sounds, first of all, Katt Williams is extremely competitive, right? You see that off bat. So I feel like there's a little bit of biases here, right? And I'm going to stand for the people who have been calling him a hater. And I personally believe a lot of what he's saying too. But, you know, we're not here to be biased here. We want to hear all points of views. And so this particular part of the 2-hour and 46-minute interview that I saw stood out to me the most. Okay. I'm telling y'all, this shit was long. So it stood out to me the most because I feel like it was really telling of the root of where everything is coming from. One, Katt Williams is extremely competitive, right? And you got to be in order to get to that spot, right? You got competitors like Dave Chappelle, you know, Kevin Hart, and I don't fucking know, all these other comedians. Tyler Perry, you know?
He is not a comedian.
I don't know, you mentioned him. So anyways. You have all this competition. So cool. It's like a double-edged sword to be that competitive. But either way, there's a lot of competition involved. 1. 2, you notice how he said, no, I wouldn't want that opportunity. They didn't offer it to me anyways. And it just kind of felt like if they did offer it to you, would you have taken it? Would that answer be different? Because the thing is like, and you see him look down too, almost like, you know, like, again, going back to the same thing. Kevin Hart gets offered these opportunities. Why? Because he caters to the white man, right? And
according to Katt Williams, yes.
Yes. And Katt Williams doesn't get offered these things. He doesn't get the dibs on them. And I feel like because he's competitive, because he doesn't get offered these things, but he still stays true to himself, there's a little bit and can be potentially driven by some type of hateration, you know, like hate, like, you know, animosity, because it's like you're mad that Kevin Hart did what you refused to do. But it's like we say, there's a sacrifice in order to reach a certain level in Hollywood. And you 99% of the time have to compromise who you are as a person. And if you want to look at the two, Kevin Hart is someone who compromised, you know, possibly compromised who he was at some point in his career to get to where he's at. And Katt Williams isn't. And that's why a lot of the people are not a lot, but yeah, there are people who believe that Katt Williams is just a hater.
Well, we can bring up the argument of Dave Chappelle because there was a point where Comedy Central offered him a $50 million deal and he refused to take it because he didn't feel like it was true to himself and true to his writing and true to he just felt like the team was moving weird and they were just going to play him. It wasn't going to be his originality, his individuality. And yeah, it was hard to turn down $50 million, but then look what happened when it was time for him to make his comeback. Netflix offered him a $60 million deal. So I feel like at the end of the day, yes, it may hurt and it may suck to stay true to yourself because you won't be like Kevin Hart getting offered all this stuff in the moment. However, at some point, there comes a time where your chance will come again. And look, Katt Williams came back and 25 million views in 2 days.
35.
In 2 days?
Oh, in 2 days.
25 million. In 5 days, 36 million because I was watching it in my span of 4 days. But I just think it's interesting. Like, you never know what's going to come out of this now just because of the virality with Katt Williams in this interview. Like, you just don't know what's going to come out of it. It seems like it's a Dave Chappelle situation happening all over again, in my opinion. And I feel like, yeah, it sucks to stay true to yourself in those moments when you got to think about the money, think about your family and whoever you got to feed or whatever the case is, whatever you're going through at the moment. However, I don't know. I just feel like when you stay true to yourself, in the long road, you do end up winning.
Yeah, it does take longer to get there. And that's really what
So you wouldn't stay true to yourself if you were offered $50 million.
$50 million is a lot of money.
You wouldn't stay true to yourself. Wow, you would sell your soul for $50 million?
I don't know. I guess it really depends on the opportunity. But
that's the opportunity. You sell your soul for $50 million.
I mean, selling your soul is a broad statement, though.
Right, but it doesn't matter. You want me to pick a specific thing, a specific
No,
topic?
I'm not saying you pick. I'm saying I would be lying to you right now, right? Because we are all human. And you'd be lying to yourself, too. You'd be lying to yourself. You would literally be lying to yourself if you cannot say that there is human error, human anything. We're human, right? To see $50 million right in front of you, and depending on what it is, you wouldn't compromise a little something. I don't know. I ain't sucking no dick, but like...
So what if that was what you had to do?
No. That's out of pocket.
What if that's what you had to do?
That's out of pocket. $50 million. I'm be like Katt Williams. I need it.
Yo, and that reminds me, he even said in the interview as well that Harvey Weinstein offered to suck his penis in front of his whole team at at the agency. And I'm just like, this is kind of crazy because like he said, back then they tried to cancel him. No one believed him. But now look. This man is in prison and he's a convicted sex offender and he's in prison for life.
Yeah. And you know, it makes me question back to Kevin Hart because people love to say the people who come out talking about the truth that, oh, they're crazy.
They're so quick.
They're on drugs.
Always.
You're crazy.
Because why was the first thing he said drugs?
Yeah.
It just felt so weird. And like he said it was so much conviction, so much passion, where it's like, I don't know who to believe. But at the end of the day, I don't know why I don't believe Kevin Hart. Like at the same time, I'm not going to say, I don't know. I feel like, yes, I'm saying I don't know, but it just don't sit right in my spirit. Like Katt, I feel like my spirit is listening to Katt more than it's listening to Kevin, even though Kevin does sound convincing.
I don't trust Kevin.
I don't know. That comment about the white man really got me, girl.
Yeah.
I was like, why did you say that?
It really, because
it really just showed that you conformed. You probably did some shit to
Yep.
get to where you are, which is exactly what Katt is saying.
Yep. And people who do that, you know, they're like, oh, stop blaming the system.
Yes.
You know, you just gotta play the game. But then it's like, I see you, but sometimes the system is fucked up.
Right.
You know, like
Sometimes
you could
it is
play it,
fucked up.
but it's still fucked up.
Right. And it probably catered to you and because you catered to it. So going back to the Harvey Weinstein, I just want to share this because I think it's so funny that no one believed Katt Will. The same energy we're seeing right now with some people that want to say, I mean, yes, okay. I can agree that some of it may be a little bit of built up animosity, comes off as haterade. However, I don't think he lying either.
Right.
So going back to the Harvey Weinstein thing when no one believed him, it's just interesting because according to an NPR article, the disgraced former movie mogul Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 16 more years in prison by a Los Angeles judge Thursday. He was convicted there in December on 3 charges of and sexual assault. Separately, the 70-year-old is already serving a 23-year prison sentence for R and sexual assault in New York, meaning that it's very likely that Weinstein will now spend the rest of his life in prison.
Rotting.
But no one believed him. I just think that
he's on drugs.
But he's on drugs. So it reminds me just like this whole situation with what's his name, Katt Williams right now. I think it's very interesting too that everyone in the comments support him. They believe him, and there's like, yay, Katt Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, if he was a woman, would that same energy be there? And the only reason why I say that is because back in 2017, Monique, another Black comedian, female, had come to the internet and was upset because she didn't like how she was getting treated by the industry, by Oprah, which Katt Williams also calls out in this interview. He calls out Oprah. He calls out Tyler Perry. And those are two of those people are the same people that Monique felt that she was like, you know, lowballed by, as well as Netflix. Okay, so Monique is an actress / comedian who is very popular in her prime in early 2000s. She had her own show, sitcom, The Parkers. You know, she has her own show, The Monique Show. She was in BMF. She was in a ton of movies and stuff like that. So at the time, back in 2017, Netflix had offered her her own special, and they were only paying her $500,000.
Dang.
Which is very low, especially at the time, because you can pay Chris Rock 40 mil. You can pay all these other people, even Amy Schumer, 200 mil, 20 mil, and she's not even fucking funny. Don't even get me started on Amy Schumer. She's not even funny, but you can do all this stuff. But then Monique, 500,000, that's crazy low to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not even in the mill. Like, that's how much you value her.
Yeah.
And so she, I guess, took to Instagram at the time and was like, I want to boycott Netflix, right? It caused a whole thing. It caused a whole stir. And she basically said, F you to Oprah, F you to Tyler Perry, because like they were also involved in it and kind of didn't really help her, didn't have her back, like we're saying, conforming to the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she talked about it on the Steve Harvey show, and Steve Harvey honestly did not have her back. Like, he was just like, oh, I don't think you should have went about it that way. Delivery, you know, you were saying some crazy stuff, like, you know, da 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 da. And then she was like, well, I didn't like how behind doors you were supportive of me, but then you went on your show and basically said, oh, she's crazy. That's crazy. And it goes back to, again, how Kevin talked about Katt Williams saying he's crazy. Even everyone else is just saying this man is crazy, but it's like, y'all just conformed. So, of course, you can't even see that, because at the end of the day, and this is what Steve Harvey said, he's like, I'm thinking about my money in my pockets at the end of the day.
His business, his face, his reputation, his
Exactly.
opportunities. And that's
Exactly.
what I was going to bring up, too. A lot of people start acting different when they get paid and when their reputation is on the line. And, you know, even though I support you, I can't do it publicly because it looks bad on me and I don't want my opportunities to get ruined, which understandable, right?
Right.
But then my thing is like, why are you having her on the show to begin with?
But then also, even before, he had said, which is why she went on the show, he had said on his show something like along the lines of like, she's crazy, like, I can't believe she did this, da 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 da. But it was in the sense of his delivery, just felt like he didn't support her at all,
right?
Even though behind closed doors he was supportive.
Mm-hmm.
So then she went on the show and they had a conversation about that. And yeah, we're not going to get into that here. You guys can look that up, but it just goes back to, again, you're conforming to the system, and then when someone speaks the truth about something, all of a sudden he's crazy, they're crazy. But going back to my point, when Monique did that, everyone bashed her. She got bashed online, doing the same thing Katt Williams is doing right now. Even though he didn't say boycott, he didn't do all that. But still, you know, she was exposing the industry. The same thing he's doing. He's getting praise, and she didn't. She got hate.
Yeah. And I mean, he did get hate when he first said the Weinstein thing. He did mention that, but I guess, I mean, at the end of the day, you do see the biases towards women and men and when they come out with allegations and stuff like that. So it's not far-fetched. But it's interesting that people believe him. It's interesting. Why do you think they believe him now and not back then?
I have no idea. You know, maybe it's because his absence. Maybe because of his absence, it's been so long, and now he's back and he just took the internet by storm. I don't know.
Why do you guys think that people believe him now and not back then? Because I just think that over time, there's been a lot that's come out, you know? And a lot of the things that he said, I mean, you can find it on the internet.
Right.
You know?
Even when he talked about Wanda Smith and her husband pulling a gun on him outside of the Atlanta Comedy Club Theater.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to show you this clip. So basically what had happened was, you know, Katt Williams had just won an Emmy and she wanted to interview him. And I guess during that interview, it kind of turned into something where they kind of like went back and forth because she had made a comment about his hair and then started calling him Little Miss Mamas. He didn't like that. And you know, and I have the clip and you know him, he's funny. So now he started roasting her.
Yeah.
And she don't like that. She's like, calm down, calm down, calm down. And then, you know, at the comedy club, her husband is there. Everybody's out there and it's caught on camera, which I have that clip as well. It's caught on camera of him literally trying to chase him down and pull a gun out on him. And after that, Wanda Smith's career, her career kind of plummeted after that.
That's crazy.
Because it's like, why would you do that?
I didn't know there was footage of that.
Oh, yeah, there's footage, girl.
You know, and that goes back to say what I say, right? Like, y'all want to call him crazy. Y'all want to call him all this, but it's like a lot of it checks off. Why would he, you know, if let's just say 80% of the stuff is checking off online, what makes you think that the other 20% is a lie? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would that, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
So here's the clip of like them getting into this heated back and forth.
Get this inmate out of here.
If you can't get your blood pressure down, you can't call me that.
Whatever, little mama.
If your cholesterol is 600.
Whatever, little mama.
I'm little mama's baby daddy.
No, you little mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
And what
girl.
are you, girl? You probably shouldn't talk about sizes.
No, that's okay.
You big on the radio.
That's right. And you're big
Turn
in
it
prison.
down.
And you're
yes,
big
ma'am.
in prison.
I've never been to prison.
You have
19
several
felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No.
Okay,
no.
Calm
No.
down. Calm down.
Only one of us has $12 worth of jewelry on. No.
No, $12.
No. That all is available. If you want to have Wanda's jewelry, please go to Citgo or Quick Trip at any point. If you buy 2 packs of Newport 100s, they will give you everything Wanda has on right now for $7.99, and it comes with a free car wash. Won't you come on down?
Yeah.
Yo, that's hilarious.
So as you can see, you know, it's crazy because before this interview she did, which he mentioned in his interview with Shannon, she did say that she would not mention his kids. She did say she would not mention his time in jail.
Yeah.
And, you know, she kind of just did both of those things.
Yeah,
So
she got butthurt by the weight comments.
because she took the joke, she made the joke first and
Yeah.
then couldn't take the joke when he was
Uh-huh.
like, because she joked about, you know, his hair,
Yeah.
then the little mamas thing, Miss Mamas.
And you know, given based off of the interview, he really don't fuck with men like that. Like,
he
seems like a
don't.
womanizer.
Yes, that was the energy I was getting to.
Uh-huh,
Like, talking about, I
100%.
love being around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be around no man.
Yo,
Like, I'd
talk
rather
about-
woman doing it.
Talk about, I don't want no chef scratching his nuts and making my shit.
Yeah, like he really was very adamant about that, and
Yeah.
I was just like, damn. And she called him that. Dang, he about to go in.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because she did say she wouldn't talk about those things, and then look, she just made a joke about those things, and then I guess he didn't like that, and then yeah. So here is the footage of. Here is the footage of them outside the club, and you can tell that there's some interaction, and it's a dispute. There's no sound. So over there on the left is Katt. There's some other guy. The guy that's running, the big guy is I need to see too. The guy that's running, that guy right there, he's standing there. He's not going nowhere yet. That's Wanda in the blue. The guy with the cap, that's her husband. And he walks over, and then they're over there, and it turns out to be a little scuffle. And this was on the news. And so, yeah, he pulled a gun out on him. And you can see she's just there, like, chilling. They're kind of, like, happy about the shit. Like, I don't even know. I can't tell facial expression, but body language just looks like she's just like, that's what you get. Like, at some point, her and her friend just posted up. But I just think it's very interesting that he mentioned that in that interview, and it checks off. Harvey Weinstein, it checks off.
But also the comedian that stole his joke, that also
Cedric
checks off.
the Entertainer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
checks off.
So he had something to say about that too. Oh, it's just crazy how like I just feel like what is up with these old men beefing online? Like that's my thing. Like y'all are too old to be beefing online. Cedric over there, someone asked him in an interview like on at an event. He's like, they put this on the blogs. I'm like, blog, it's a podcast. Like, oh my God, you don't even know. You so old, you don't even know. Like, nigga, what? Oh yeah, what they do nowadays on the blogs. I was like, these old niggas need to stop fucking arguing online. This is just not it. This is not fucking it. Like literally.
By the way, shout out to Tiana for doing all the research on this one. You holding it down on this episode because you got all the tea.
I know.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't know how you listen to 3 hours of that shit and still deep dive.
Real.
Y'all gotta like this video for the fucking
real.
tea because she put in that work. When I tell you it was work,
You're dragging it.
it was work.
Yeah, I definitely did a lot of digging to whatever I could pull up. But, Cedric the Entertainer did respond to Katt Williams talking to Shannon about, him stealing one of his jokes. And then at some point, before I play the stuff that I'm going to play and read the stuff that I'm going to read, at some point he does mention that like, everyone steals at some point. But like, honestly, I don't even remember. I don't think I did it. Like basically he was saying, how he started it off, he was like, I don't remember any of that. And if he had a problem, why didn't he just say anything to me? But at the end of the day, like, we're all creators. Like, at some point, like, people do that or some shit. It was just kind of like an excuse. And in my opinion, I just feel like, no.
I hate
that too.
when people say, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. Or like, why didn't you say something? Like, you know what you did. Like, let's be real.
When in doubt, play stupid.
Yeah, and it's annoying because I don't have respect for people that steal. And I get it. People steal, but still make it your own. Like, be innovative.
Be inspired.
Inspired.
Right.
Don't just steal word for word, verbatim for verbatim. Like, everything plot for plot. And that happened to someone that I used to work with.
Yep.
That happened to her. And you know what's crazy? I smelled it from a mile away.
It's crazy.
I knew it was coming because I was like, why the fuck are y'all sharing scripts? Like, why are y'all sharing scripts?
Yeah, she like shared a script with someone who was in the same like work environment.
Right.
And the girl literally
and it was
stole it.
Obviously it was to only like, just compare and just get inspired and like share work and see what you can get inspired from. So of course, like, my colleague at the time didn't think anything of it. Me personally, I was like, I wouldn't do that shit because I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And, they did. And at some point when it was time for presentations, we saw that, old girl just stole my colleague's script.
Literally. No shame.
The same plot, the same everything. And it was just kind of like, damn, like you couldn't even.
And she didn't even do it as good.
Did not do it as good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm just like, you couldn't even come up with something more original. And it's just like, it's no shitting on you, but it's just kind of like, come on now. How would you feel if that was done to you? You wouldn't like that.
Yep.
So don't do that to other people. So I personally hate that shit. You already know we talked about the B. Simone episode.
Yep.
I don't like that shit.
Happened to Messy Maya too. Our fellow YouTuber friend.
Right. Messy Maya. That's
real.
crazy. People really be out here weird.
Yeah, weird.
Just weird.
Just protect yourself, y'all. This shit is weird.
Mm-hmm. So he got asked about it on an interview, I guess, and this is what he had to say.
I saw that you did respond to Katt Williams. I hate that, Sadie. I hate that y'all, that there's any sort of issue.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting time now. People get on these blogs and they just, start just spewing off stuff that's not even factual.
Right.
But, I let the fodder just go out there until I'm ready to respond to
your
it.
Your work speaks for itself.
I am who I am. I stand on that, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Stand on business.
Hey,
Ain't that what the kids say?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got all the new sayings.
Yes, they do. Stand on business. I love it.
I was like, get these old people out of here, bitch.
Oh my God. Ain't that what the kids say?
I'm sorry. She said stand on business. Ain't that what the kids say? I said, girl, please.
Yeah.
Just be you. Don't piss me off. Cedric the Entertainer then went on to post something like this. He said, revisionist history, regardless of whatever Katt's opinion, my career can't be reduced to one joke. Katt Williams claims as his. I've been in over 40 movies. My specials and brand speaks volumes for I am. The people I have put on, including Cat in the Hat at the Gibson Amphitheater. So he had a lot to say, and I was just like, okay, I don't know what to say. But they've been responding, surprisingly. They've all been responding. Steve Harvey had something to say. He had a lot to say, but one of the tweets that he had tweeted, he was like, "You don't have to address your haters, hunted emoji." And I'm just kind of like, stop, because he's literally making claims that you pimped your daughter out. So I don't even know. You need to be speaking up. With this Diddy situation, you need to be speaking up. And he already talked about Diddy in the interview, talking about how Diddy liked to party and he want to protect his virgin hole in the back. So Steve, what's going on? I hope that you didn't pimp Lori Harvey out. I don't want to believe that, but I just don't know. The shit around Diddy, maybe that's just he was cutting ass. I don't know. That's some crazy hard accusations.
Some wild shit, yo.
Some wild. I'm telling you, we chose violence.
Yeah, he did.
He woke up.
He did.
He sipped the drink, analyzed the drink, criticized the drink like a fucking cognac connoisseur, and then chose violence. I was like, this man is lethal with the straightest face. He was holding that shit in for years. He finally let that shit out.
I'm gonna stand on because a lot of this episode is still towards believing Katt Williams, but I think it's also what I found interesting that a lot of people haven't really pointed out was the fact that and this just went it was just so unscathed because he mentioned so much crazier shit and allegations that people, they just took it, and because there's truth with the Diddy thing coming out and a lot of the stuff you can't back up, right? So it went wildfire. The people kind of missed this one part which stood out to me a lot, was where he was he talks about how these celebrities are a part of the problem because they go to the strip clubs and they're drinking and they're all alcoholics, and he mentioned how if I go to the strip club, I'm telling this girl that it's her that it's her last time.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was like, hell no, nigga, are you dumb?
And then no, but even all right, he was like, I'll take her out. You don't need to be here. You don't need to be a hoe, something like that. And that was cool. I was like, oh, all right, that's dope. He really about that. And then all to find out later in the interview that he goes to strip clubs, that he's kind of like a womanizer. He has he doesn't have a woman, but he has how many kids?
10 kids.
And you can tell just by the things he was saying, it's almost first of all, you just said you think that Hollywood is a part of the problem by supporting strip clubs, while also later on in the interview talking about how you go to the strip clubs. And then it almost comes off like you're a womanizer. So I don't even know what you're, because you're single and have all this responsibility. I don't even know if you're capable of having a committed relationship. And that's just me analyzing something. I don't know his situation, but I'm just saying, if you're that age with all those kids and no woman to help you, and he does explain how he takes on the role and he doesn't need a woman, but that goes to show you that, are you capable of even having a relationship with one single woman because you love women so much? That's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah, that was his energy.
And it just came off kind of hypocritical. And I feel like it's important, hearing everybody's reaction and the things they have to say, even with Cedric right now, just or Harvey saying all that, right? You guys gotta pinpoint these out too. Yes, there may be truth to it, but remember, Katt Williams is also a human being and is capable of being exactly what he's complaining about. You know what I'm saying? He is capable of being a hypocrite. He is capable, because he literally in the same 3 hours sat there and said, Hollywood's a part of the problem. Y'all are all this and that, but then also talking about how he goes to the strip club. And it was kind of well, that don't make no sense, because the first part I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, he don't support the strip club. And then all of a sudden, now he support the strip club.
I'm sorry, but when he was telling that story about the stripper and the strip club, talking about this could be your last night, it already gave womanizer, and it already gave those naive boys that just think that they just gonna go to the strip club, pick up a stripper. No, it never works like that.
And also, he goes on to talk about how he likes toxic women.
Yo, that was the part.
And I'm like, so you're so woke, yet you like toxic women. Make sense.
But he understands why, though.
It's giving savior complex. It's giving savior complex. It's giving, I'm gonna, because he was talking about you can start figure out what feeds their toxicity, and then you can turn it off. And it's like,
because
do you like toying with these? Do you like to fix people? It's giving that, and it's like, maybe that's why you can't connect, because you're always too busy trying to fix women, and and it's also back to the same thing that I was talking about. You know
the trauma, trauma is in everyone.
This is what sticks out to me. Like, all that other shit is Hollywood. Like, I'm really starting, like, the blinds have completely been, I'm wake, baby.
Or awake.
No, I'm wake, right? We gonna fuck all.
He said I'm
wake. I'm so woke, it's wake, baby. Like, cause is right. So like that shit, okay. Like, all this shit you can back up, but like I picked a little bit of all the things that he said, and I'm just kind of like, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, yes, the facts may be there, but you also got to remember, why now? Why are you saying this now? Like, what is a benefit to you other than, I need a, like, okay, maybe the beginning with Ricky Smiley or whatever, you wanted to set it straight, but why all the other stuff? You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like interesting and to think about, and like,
why can't he just be mad and let it out?
He can,
but why question that if that's what it is?
I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning
why now,
his intentions. I'm questioning even like, sometimes we tell stories, right? And they may be true, but the words and how we choose to say it with whatever passion we choose to say it is driven by our emotions, right? So I think it's important for us to remember that, yes, it may be true, but you got to also remember that there seems like a lot of anger towards the opportunities that weren't given to him because he didn't cater to the people. He seems to be a little bit of a hypocrite when it comes to talking about women and his personal life and the shit that he got to say. So even like, with that in mind, think about the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just important to remember who we're talking about. Like, everybody online is like, oh, Katt Williams, yeah. Maybe true. 90% of it may be true. Maybe 100% of it is true, right? But I just think it's also important to remember the hypocrisy within people, Like, he could be saying this and criticizing Kevin Hart while also doing another version of that. You know what I'm saying? While also being another version of conforming, just not conforming to the levels of Kevin Hart. You get what I'm saying?
Nah, his energy's giving. He not conforming at all.
I'm just using that. I'm not saying that specifically, but what I'm saying is criticizing the people, and what he chooses to do. I think there's room for all that. I don't know. I'm just
yeah, I think that's fair to definitely, acknowledge that at the end of the day, the man is human, right? And the man did feel some type of way, right? So of course there's gonna be built up animosity, and I think there's definitely a little bit of hypocrisy in it. I feel like as human beings, we're all kind of like hypocritical at the end of the day.
True.
When it comes to our own beliefs and what we stand for and just things that we like to do, and things that we don't like to do. So that's just something that is, I don't know. Yeah. Just in our DNA, I feel like at this point. But I mean, he definitely said a lot of stuff. I mean, even him mentioning Oprah and Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson when it came to Epstein Island. What is your take on that?
I mean, you already know how I felt. I mean, look, I'm probably gonna get canceled for this one. I'm probably gonna get canceled. Oh my God. You talk about Michael Jackson and all of a sudden the world wants to look at you like you fucking, you gonna disrespect a legend? Yes. Yes. I don't care if he had a rough upbringing. I've been saying this though. Like I've been saying this. Like I always thought it was weird, him hanging the baby. Like I remember being young as hell, looking at him on the news, hang his son on the balcony. Like this man clearly got mental issues. And I look, whether or not he did anything to little boys, the fact that he like hung out with little boys, like, look, I'm gonna take word for it, right? Most people believe that he didn't do it. He just had mental issues. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he's a grown ass man hanging out with little boys. Like, you know, like it's weird. I don't care if you're sick and you're mentally ill, go get help. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, so like all that shit doesn't surprise me. Oprah, you know, that's another one that I really didn't fuck with. Y'all gonna cancel me for that one too, because it was always okay to like, you know, like her, to look at her like, oh my God, she's a black woman on TV. Look at this video where she was
Definitely
in a different, you know, country or in a luxurious place, and she was like profiled because she was black and they didn't think that she could afford it. You know that fucking video we've all seen. It doesn't mean anything. The lady has done so much fucked up shit. Go ask the people in Hawaii. People don't fuck with her. Like, and she's done a lot of fucked up people to black people in the industry. And that's just the reality that I can't stand.
And Taraji P. Henson talks about that, and the same thing that I was talking about with Monique. Taraji P. Henson felt like, you know, she was kind of like robbed. And, you know, the math wasn't mathing, not getting paid enough for her role. Now, Taraji P. Henson is an Academy Award winner. You know, she's been acting for a very long time, since the 90s.
Dang.
And, you know, she was, a fun fact for The Color Purple, the movie, she was chosen first already, but still had to audition. So, again, it just felt like she still had to, like, prove herself, even though she proved herself already. And so, you know, rumors are that, yes, it is about, like, you know, Oprah and just the whole whoever was in charge, the whole team, like, even when it was time to shoot, the talent on set had to get rental cars to drive to their production set, which is ridiculous. Because if you've ever been on a set, talent, they have everything for them.
Right.
They have their own security, they have people driving them, and that's paid for by the production. They have their own room, they have everything set up for them. So the fact that they had to drive themselves, that's ghetto. I'm sorry. That's fucking ghetto, bitch. And it's crazy because, you know, there is some speculation about just like how just, you know, they're not on the same page. And, you know, again, and it's crazy because if Monique spoke out about this, Katt Williams said it in the interview, Taraji P. Henson spoke about this too and kind of like hinted at it. At some point, come on.
No, there's more than just those.
It's more than that.
Those are just the people right now that are hot topic.
In the industry, though.
You like literally, The Rock is another one. Like they're all Kevin Hart. Why do you think you see them all the time together?
Yeah.
They're really like a clique. And this is why what Katt Williams was saying, oh, you know, there's like a clique. It really is true.
It's true.
So it's like, people go online and look up all the controversies with Oprah. The reason why she's got the money is because she steals. She steals from people. Like, that's just straight up. And
$3 billion net worth. It's insane. So there's this clip of, you know, I think this was for the premiere or whatever this was for the movie Color Purple. And like you can tell the body language between Fantasia, Taraji, and Oprah. It's just like very uncomfortable.
Child, I just want to know, what did Oprah do to Taraji? Like, check this out. Look how she walk up, right? They all walking up. Look at it. Okay, look. They don't greet each other. Taraji looking over here in space, just so she don't have to make eye contact with Oprah. Oprah doesn't turn to the side and say anything to her. Okay, I can't remember her name. I think her name is Danielle, this other actress. I don't know. I'm not going to lie on her, but I love her. Here come Fantasia. And look, she right there by Taraji, right? Right? And look what she do. Look what she do. Scoot them down and get at the end. Now, where y'all know Oprah to want to miss up on being in the middle in a photo? Where you know her did not want to be in the middle of a photo, y'all.
Everybody right down here.
So yeah, I'm believing those rumors that they got a beef going on. Maybe Oprah want to try to give Taraji them coins. I don't know what's going on, y'all.
So clearly that looks awkward. And, you know, Taraji did speak out about how she just feels like she's kind of tired of having to prove herself in the industry. And it all just goes back to everything Katt was saying in the interview and how he feels for her and everything Monique was saying back in 2017 when no one believed her.
And you know what's really cool about like the fact that Katt Williams came out is because, as you can see, right, when all these people are coming out, if you're not someone like Katt Williams, or if you're not someone like so big and like Cassie, right? That was another one. And that, you know, if you're not them, no one believes you. Mm-hmm. If you're small and you're not as powerful and you don't have the following, no one believes you. It literally goes into the internet and gets lost and forgotten.
And I feel like that's what happened to Monique. Because, yeah, she was in her prime during her time, but in 2017, it was kind of like,
right,
at that time, no one really knows who you are that much anymore.
Right.
So it's like, people did not look at her like, oh, who is this? You don't have the credibility. Like, you know?
People don't listen. Yeah. They don't listen because they don't know you. They're just like, oh, it's just another person.
It's a new generation
They
coming
don't
up.
care.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what's powerful about Katt Williams coming out and saying and kind of like confirming all this, because it's kind of like he's someone who's been in the industry for a very, very long time. You know, he's seen a lot. He has very, you know, things he can back up on, and people are listening. And if people are listening, like, and he's re-shining a lot of the light that kind of got lost with other people like Oprah. You know, he shining light on the whole situation with all the comedians and all that other shit. All that shit got lost on the internet, but you can find it now. You know what I'm saying? You can find it. It's there.
Literally.
But it gets forgotten.
There.
So it's like, I think that's the most powerful part about it. And that's the power of social media, right? Like,
so yeah. And also speaking about Monique, you know, she also won an Academy Award for the movie Precious that she starred in, where she played that abusive ass mom. If y'all know it, y'all know it. And that movie definitely, again, won an Oscar. You know, she won Best Supporting Actress. So she only got paid $50,000 for her role. You know how much the movie made?
Stop playing.
You see, and this is what they talk about when they lowball Black women in the industry. This is exactly what they're talking about, and no one believes them. That movie made $63 million. She only got paid $50,000, and that's a main role she was playing. It was a main role she was playing.
$50 fucking dollars.
$50,000.
That's $50 in Hollywood, bitch. That's
$50,000. And like, that movie came out in 2009. But even so, $50,000 in 2009 compared to a $63 million movie, y'all lowballed the shit out of her.
That's crazy.
Y'all lowballed the shit out of her.
That's
it's sad.
That's sad.
It really is sad. And that's why they felt so comfortable lowballing her again for her own Netflix special. That's crazy. $500K? Amy Schumer is getting way more than that, and that bitch is not funny at all. She's not funny at all. We can debate.
Yeah, I hate her.
That bitch is not funny. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she's just not funny. But, you know, to each their own.
Right.
So yeah, it's not a surprise that like all the stuff that Katt Williams says about everything is, you know, it's not a surprise. Because look at how all of these things that have been happening, it's kind of starting to like check out. And it's there. It's not like it's not available on the information.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I mean,
very true.
I guess the only thing that I wanted to say about the Tiffany Haddish thing, which kind of just contributes to this idea, and I don't know anything. This case got settled eventually, called off. So Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, back before Tiffany Haddish was Tiffany Haddish, they filmed a comedy skit together, and one of the kids involved in the comedy skit that they had used, I think one of them was Tiffany Haddish's younger sister and someone else. The two kids, they were 7 and 14 at the time, and they played in a comedy skit that was uploaded onto a website called Funny or Die. The name of the comedy skit was, through a eyes.
I heard of this.
You did. We
I
talked
heard
about this.
Yes.
We talked about this.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we were around for that.
Yes. Yes. And I was
Mhm.
really upset.
Yes. And at the time, we were able to find some clips, but obviously the whole thing got wiped, got deleted. Video got removed in 2018.
That's right.
Yep. At some point, you know, the victim settled and the case was dismissed. But you already know, there's some things that I'm going to read that is going to be a little triggering. So just a disclaimer. So in one clip titled Through a Eyes, Spears' character plays a lusting after John Doe, who was 7 years old at the time. According to the lawsuit, Haddish plays the boy's mother, who leaves her child with the man. John Doe spends most of the video only in his underwear, and they're basically cameras zooming in suggestively on the 7-year-old's buttocks and crotch while he plays, and just a bunch of things alluding to just disgusting behavior. And so when the video, I'm not even going to read the other details because it's very like sexually suggestive and just disgusting. So when the video ends, it ends with a text that says, watch who you leave your kids with. And obviously it was removed in 2018. But my thing is like, that's not comedy. Nothing about that is funny in any way. That's not even satire. And allegedly they were going for like something satirical, but that wasn't even satire. That was just disgusting. That was just like, you know what that was. And the fact that it was on IMDb and people was able to leave reviews, and I saw a fucking anonymous review on IMDb about it. Like, bitch, you're another watching this shit. So tell me why this review literally says, he takes a liking to the neighbor's 9-year-old daughter, who is mostly neglected by her mother. What starts out as an innocent friendship quickly turns into a temptation that he cannot resist. He tries to stay on the straight and narrow, but ultimately has to admit to himself that he can't. On the positive side, you can't help but being touched by the movie. You feel sympathy for Jonathan as you watch him struggle. You will feel very awkward in scenes where the little girl is seen through his lustful eyes. In that sense, the movie manages to reach its audience, and you are guaranteed to walk out with mixed feelings. He should know better. He can't help it. Things like that. And I'm just like,
I feel like even, and I remember this now very, very clearly. I feel same thing. Like, I feel like you can send that message without involving an actual kid and involving those shots. Like, you can send that message in so many other ways artistically, and yet you chose to do that.
And it wasn't even funny. Nothing about that is funny. Like, nothing about, you know, being a is funny. Nothing about that is, I just don't understand. Where was the joke?
Yeah.
Where was the joke? And then again, Tiffany Haddish, why were you a part of this? Like, and this is what makes me wonder, what did you do to get to where the fuck you are now? Because you were a part of this comedy skit. And people already say a lot of weird shit about the stuff that goes on in the industry and in Hollywood with, you know, minors and the sex and like just all this crazy shit. So I really don't know. I don't know, but I just feel like judging based off of that whole interaction, that's all. Like, I don't have nothing to say. All I'm gonna say is I just feel like stuff like that and the shit that we hear about with Epstein and the shit that we hear about what goes on in Hollywood and the fact that you were a part of that, even though it was a comedy skit, it's just weird.
Diddy.
Then we hear about Diddy. It's like
Jay-Z, Oprah,
you know,
Michael
Oprah,
Jackson.
Michael. It's all connecting, and that's why part of me just feels like, is that how you got to where you're not saying that comedy sketch is how she got to where she got, but is that alluding to something?
I mean, something that, I don't know. I don't know anything about her.
Because she's not that funny. Like Katt said, in my opinion, she's not that funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm going to just leave it up to y'all. I don't fucking know. Like, I just wanted to call that out. Like, it's just very interesting. I'll never know.
The world may never
know. Like, that's it. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
I mean, look, the interview has taken the internet by storm. Him and Gypsy Rose are just like fucking out of control with the fucking internet. So like, I mean, if you do have time, I definitely suggest, listening to it. He does have a lot of like interesting stories and stuff. But I am curious to know what you've heard, what you have to say, what you think about this whole, like, what we covered today. How many of y'all seen Precious? Because I feel like I'm the 1% that hasn't.
Probably.
You're right.
Probably.
Just like, yeah, like whatever. I don't care. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's
do you have
pretty
anything
much
to
it.
say?
No.
Anything else about the Katt Williams thing?
I mean, Katt Williams is a very eccentric guy. I will say that. He's funny. He definitely gave a lot of Aquarian energy.
Yeah.
But he's a Virgo, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I said everything that I needed to say. I want to know your thoughts. If you guys did watch the interview, like, what are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts about what we said? This whole industry shit is weird. Even Katt Williams and how he is as a person. At the end of the day, he's still human. And, that trauma be traumaing. So, yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say. I have nothing else to say. So if you guys made it this far, amazing.
Thank you. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate your comments. It's always nice to see, what part stood out to y'all when y'all mark the moments of the episode. I really like that. It really shows like
you're locked in.
You're locked in. Hell yeah. So we appreciate everybody that tunes in every motherfucking week.
Yes,
right?
Every Tuesday. So yes, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.strange. And where can they find you, Tiana?
You can find me on Instagram at Randomania1, but you can find the podcast on Instagram at The Petty Headquarters. And if you want to watch episodes on YouTube, it's on my YouTube channel at Petty Sim Productions. We release episodes every Tuesday at 4:00. We're on Spotify, Apple, all those podcast platforms, and we're on YouTube. So yeah, if you want to check out my funny sim talks, go to my TikTok, Petty Sim Productions. And that's about it. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And this was your weekly dose of mess.